Welcome to another Awards Editorial Roundtable. We're talking about the Awards 10 Best Interiors competition. Christy Swinesberg, Steve Finley, and today we're going to talk about the Toyota Sienna minivan and also the Ram ProMaster City, which in some ways would be a replacement for a minivan for some buyers. So Steve, talk a bit about the Toyota Sienna first off.
Well, it's actually a very interesting vehicle. Toyota calls it a swagger wagon. I'm not sure it's quite that, but if somebody...
It's good for the marketing plan.
It's good for the marketing plan. If somebody needs a minivan, most people don't buy it because of an aspiration, but they do buy it out of need, and this really fulfills a lot of needs. You know, I love the way the center stack goes with the shifter, and basically a lot of integrated stuff there. The seating is phenomenal. When you drop down the back row, you have room for all sorts of things, even with the third row up. Right. I think you can fit like 5 golf clubs there, or golf bags, I should say. 2 golf bags used to be the standard. This thing has 5. Yeah. And also one of the interesting things about it is it's got this easy speak where you can address the people in the back, assuming they're
like a microphone.
Children. A microphone, in the infotainment screen, and talk to them or yell at them, whatever you want to do with your kids. But it's a way to communicate in a way where you don't turn around and get distracted. So I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, Christy?
I liked it overall. I think it's a big step up for the Sienna. So this is a refresh Sienna, but before the refresh, the interior was not good. A lot of cheap hard plastics. They've tried to get rid of those as much as possible. I really liked the color combination in this vehicle. It was a light gray with a dark gray with a mahogany toned fake wood, but it had a very nice appearance.
I was not a fan of that wood.
You didn't like the wood? Okay.
Well, I don't like real high gloss, and in addition to the high gloss, it just looked very fake down below. Anyway, sorry, go ahead. Yeah, no, I like this vehicle. I like minivans. I'm a big minivan fan. I think there's a lot of features and ergonomics. You can't beat a minivan for ergonomics. Having said that, I did take issue with the audio knobs are very shallow on the dash, and they're a little hard to grip, especially if you're wearing gloves, which most of us are, this cold winter in Michigan. So that was something I had issue. To your point about ergonomics, it's nice how the center stack is sloped kind of down on an angle toward you, to the point about trying to work controls that are on a completely vertical flush surface. It's a little difficult, but when they're sloped downward, it's just so much easier and very natural reaching and dialing those knobs. And I think the display screen, it's new in the Sienna, but we've seen that display screen in other Toyotas.
We have. I'm getting used to it. I was never a big fan of it. With all those presets on the left side there, you get everything. So AM, FM, XM, and it has a tendency for me anyway to get stuck in categories. Like there's sort of a pop like for XM, a pop category, a rock category, and when you're changing stations, you're just changing within like 10 stations, and anyway, it can be a little confusing, but I'm getting more used to it now.
But you do have the tune knob where you can just dial from one station to the next without the categories, right?
You do, yeah. And then we see some other buttons. So this is a bigger screen than it appears, and you've got those other buttons, the tabs, audio, apps, home, and seek and track on the other side now. That's a bit of a different look for a Toyota touchscreen. And there's blue lighting throughout the vehicle, which is also new for Toyota. Normally they have red, and now they've modernized.
Didn't they have the blue LEDs last year in that Highlander that we tested? That was really a nice touch, I thought. But very comfortable seats. I thought the whole package.
Not just the front.
Second row, third row was nice, and I think the folding and the stowing of the third row seats is kind of cool. There's no power function necessary. Some people would probably like power folding third row seats, but it feels almost as if there's some hydraulic boost there. There's a lever, when you're at the cargo area, you got the lift gate up, and you just reach down to this lever and you pull on it, and the whole seat just kind of rises up, and you just pull a little further and it'll lock down in place. And then you pull the lever again and the seat back goes up, and it's kind of cool.
A lot of creativity, and you know, it's interesting because the minivan sector used to be about 1 million, and now it's down to 500,000. So it's really a declining sector. But there's still a lot of thought that goes into minivan design, and especially interior design. And the Sienna is a perfect example of that.
It is. I like the floating nature of the center. The center stack seems to float away, and then also the trim on above the glove box seems to be floating up above the the rest of the instrument panel.
Do you think Swagger Wagon is stretching it?
Yeah, I mean, they're just trying to impart a new image, give minivans a new image. You know, they're kidmobiles for the most part, and there are a lot of parents who absolutely will not drive a minivan. You know, they'll have a crossover, which is basically the same thing, but they don't want a minivan. So they're trying to make minivans cool. And
if they want to do that, I think they need to punch it up. And we're only seeing one trim package, but we need to see something a little more stylish, some colored accents. You know, I don't know about red seats in a minivan, but something with a little more style to it. Just your basic cream, beige, gray is not going to cut it as a swagger van, I think.
I do like that metal trim all the way around the driver's portion of the IP of the center stack. That's really nice.
Yep. Pricing on this one is $44,953. How does that float in in the minivan world? Do you think that's kind of standard where people are paying that kind of money for fully loaded Town and Countries and Honda Odyssey and the Kia Sedona is starting to play in that segment now, aren't they? With something I noticed about the heated steering wheel. We love heated steering wheels at this time of year here in Detroit. On the lower part of the kind of at the 10 and 2 position on down, it's heated, but above the 10 o'clock position, it goes cold. So it's almost as if they're trying to train people to don't put your hands up here, put them down where they belong. It's you make it warm where you want people to reach for the wheel. Anyway, so now we've talked about the Toyota Sienna at the high end of the market. Now we're going to talk about the Ram ProMaster City Wagon. Now, you've seen a lot of these smaller cargo vans like the Transit Connect, and Nissan has the NV200. And then Chevy's going to be coming into this segment. Everybody's into the smaller cargo segment. Now, Ford has a passenger version of the Transit Connect, and now also Ram has a ProMaster City Wagon with 2 rows of seats. So you've got 2 bucket seats up front, and then you've got a folding second row with seating for 3, and then behind that you have a very large cargo area, and of course you have a very tall roof, which is kind of nice. But the pricing on our test model was $26,365, which compared to the Sienna is quite the bargain. But the question is, how many people would want to buy this vehicle to use perhaps for cargo for work, but then also shuttling the kids to and from school? I'm just curious about how the American mind thinks, and whether that is a proper substitute for a dedicated passenger vehicle.
It struck me as an occasional passenger vehicle because the second row is kind of Spartan. The legroom is pretty tight.
It is.
I didn't see a way to...
And they don't slide. The second row doesn't slide, I don't think.
It is where fixed. It is, yeah. And the seats were not all that comfortable either. So the cargo space is huge, though. I wish I had furniture to buy that weekend because it was so big. I think it's primarily a cargo van first.
Yeah, the only reason somebody would buy that to take their kids to school is because they had a job delivering something after they dropped the kids off. But to use that as a primary people mover is kind of an odd choice of a vehicle. But it does work as a delivery vehicle.
Absolutely.
And it's got comfort and convenience, and it's kind of nice that people who spend a lot of time in their vehicle as a vocation have offering that provides a level that's above and beyond just the basic utilitarian transportation offerings that we've seen since before.
Think about it. If you're Fiat Chrysler and you already have this vehicle in the Fiat family in Europe, how difficult is it to bring it over here? I mean,
easy.
they proved that when they could bring over a diesel from Europe, hey, they could sell that to Americans in the Ram pickup truck. So it's not a bad attempt to see if there's some some traction in this segment. I don't know how many they have to sell to to make up their investment, but yeah, you're right. It's not the kind of seat that I want to sit in for a long road trip. But if you occasionally are going to be using it for passenger, but mostly using it for cargo, you just fold those seats forward, as you can see here, and you still have this massive cargo area up there. And I find that compared to some of the cargo vans, the equipment level is pretty good. This has a lot of nice features. It doesn't feel like a total work truck, in other words. No, I like that shelf above in the front front area where you could, and there was a little net, so whatever you put up there couldn't come flying back at you. Right.
If I had a job delivering stuff, that's the vehicle I'd want to be in. Yep. And also, they were saying even the knobs are oversized, so if somebody's wearing gloves, they can easily adjust the climate control knobs.
One weird thing about this was there's no door lock or unlock button. Not that I could find anyway. You basically unlock all the doors by opening your door. It was kind of weird.
Well, I found that I took a picture of on the door trim.
Right. Yeah.
So it's a really large. I wasn't quite sure what I was experiencing there. You push it to lock it, and you pull it to unlock it.
One thing I missed was that there's no backup camera. Not with the one we had. You might be able to get it, but not in.
There should be a backup camera. It should almost be standard, I would think, in this case.
It's pretty hard to see.
Well, there will be at some point, right?
Yeah. This is a 2015, and it's 2016, right? It's 2016 models have it standard.
I think that's correct.
Yeah.
So I did the headroom test, as I always do in these vehicles, and there's all sorts of room up overhead.
You
never find that much space.
A dress.
What's that?
You could wear a headdress.
You could, absolutely.
Have plenty of room.
All right, we're going to wrap it up. Thanks for joining us, and we will be back with more discussions about the award's 10 best interiors. Thanks.